Good morning. Happy Tuesday. What a start. Happy Tuesday. So this might be your first time seeing me go over these questions, or you may have watched the optional video from yesterday's announcement, which some of you might not have even seen it, and that's okay because it was optional. But I can probably look at your scores and know who is showing a bunch of improvement because they saw me go over them yesterday. But if this is your first time seeing them today, I can definitely understand how we could have some low numbers today. Never really specifically done one like number 4. Question number 5 obviously is tough because we had to bring that one back for the second week in a row. So a lot of different questions on here, or a lot of different types of questions on here, and a lot of variety of strategies that you might need to use to get these correct. So we'll get right into it here. Once I get some of this mess out of the way. Number 1 says Gunnar has 12 pickles. That is 4 times as many pickles as Damon has. Caleb has 3 times as many pickles as Damon. How many pickles does Caleb have? So yesterday's video, I did a chart, and then today I'll show you something a little bit different because you might see some words in there that make you think, oh my gosh, we've been doing that for a long time in school. When you saw your 4 times as many, you probably thought of the words multiplicative comparisons, right? So if I just started with 2 people, since I've got 3, I know Gunnar's total is 12, and I know that that is 4 times as many pickles as Damon has. So anytime we had that word that or which, I've always told people I like to circle that word and draw the arrow back, because that is referring to Gunnar's total. So when we're doing our boxes, because we see 4 times as many, I know Gunnar's going to get 4 boxes. And I know Damon's just going to automatically get 1. Now, I also know Gunnar's picture's got to be equal to 12. So if I take that 12 and I split them between Gunnar's boxes, that's going to show me that there's 3 in each box. Now, by doing that, really we just got Damon's total, which is 3. We need that number because it's saying that Caleb has 3 times as many as Damon. Well, if Damon has 3 and Caleb has 3 times as many pickles as Damon, all I would have to do there is 3 times 3, and that would give me C, which is 9. You could have done it all in one chart, kind of like I did it yesterday. If you know your facts, you could have just kind of eyeballed that and known that one pretty quickly in your head, which I always prefer to put something on paper. A lot of different ways you can do that, but with number 1, I'm going to show you a visual that you can use every single time. So number 1 should have been C. A lot of words in that one. All right, question number 2. I don't know. I think this one, it's a little bit challenging, but it's one that you can get right if you just plug in the answer choices. That's the one thing I don't understand. Like, if you can use something that it gives you, use it, especially if it's going to help you get something correct. So let me go ahead and put my rectangular living room up here. Boom, how you like that? It says it has an area of 32 square feet, perimeter of 24 feet. What could be the length and the width? So remember, area, we do length times width. Perimeter, we can add all the way around the sides. So first thing I would do is focus on area. Like, I would look at all the answer choices and think length times width, would it give me 32? So if I'm looking at A, 8 times 4 does give me 32, so I'm going to keep that one around. All right, now if I look at B, you might not know this off the top of your head, guys. You might not know 16 times 2. Very easy, you can stack them. You can plug it in your calculator with an area or perimeter question, or instead of doing 16 times 2, you can do 16 plus 16. Either way, length times width here, that would also give me 32 square feet, so I'm going to keep that one around. Now, I could get rid of C, because if I did length times width, 12 times 2, that would give me an area of 24 square feet. And that's not what I'm looking for. Same deal with number 2, or with the letter D. If I do 10 times 2, length times width, that would give me an area of 20 square feet. Again, not what I'm looking for. So now all I got to do is check A and B. I got to plug them in, see if that gives me a perimeter of 24. So I'll start with A. Opposite sides are equal. And I always add my like numbers first. If I go 8 plus 8, that's going to give me 16. 4 plus 4, that would give me 8. 8 plus 6 gives me 14. 4 stays, 1 goes. 1 plus 1 is 2. So not only does 8 feet by 4 feet give me my area of 32, it also gives me my perimeter of 24, which is my answer. But I would still very quickly check the perimeter of answer choice B. 16 plus 16 would already give me 32. So honestly, I could stop right there because it's already more than what I was looking for. So your length and your width, it's got to work for the perimeter and the area. And it's so much easier if you can get to a point where you can just eliminate answer choices, save you a little bit of time. So that one would have been A. All right, moving on to 3. This one's pretty hard if you don't know your facts. Just like everything we do, if you know your facts, this one's going to get much easier for you. It says, I am an even number. Now, I would stop right there. I would go ahead and look at my answer choices and eliminate anything that's not even. So if I'm looking at this, I wouldn't waste any time on C, not an even number. All right, but now the answer choices have to be a factor of 42, 60, and 72, meaning I've got to be able to multiply something to get 42, 60, and 72 by one of those answer choices. Now, you may feel comfortable and say, well, like if I look at answer choice D, I know for a fact if I'm listing my multiples of 8, I'm going to skip right past 42 because 8 times 5 gives me 40, 8 times 6 gives me 48, and I keep going. All right, so same deal with 6 or B. If you know your multiplication, you could look at 42 and say, hey, 6 times 7 gives me 42. Then you could look at 60 and say, hey, 6 times 10 gives me 60. And then you could look at 72 and say 6 times 12 gives me 72. If you know your facts, that's no problem at all. You've got your answer. If you don't know your facts, you have to do something. You've got to list multiples. 6 times 1 gives me 6. 6 times 2 gives me 12, 18, 24. And guys, you may have to do that for all the answer choices if you don't know your facts. Like if you're looking at the number 4, you may have to sit there and list all your multiples until you get up to or past those numbers. You can't just guess on these. You can't say, well, I think this one, there's a way where you can 100% get it correct. You just got to list those multiples and it'll give you the right answer. So that one would have been B, and I knew that pretty quick just because I knew my multiplication facts. So that's what we're working towards getting with a question like that every single day. All right. So in the video yesterday, and I'm going to try to make this a little cleaner, there's a bunch of different angles that we're going to talk about this year, and you should have talked about last year. So last year, you should have learned about a right angle, which is 90 degrees. You'll normally know it's a right angle by looking at the little box in the corner. So 90 degrees there. And then anything smaller than that is called an acute angle. Less than 90 is an acute angle. So when I think of like being the smaller angles, think about like a small baby and how they're so cute, right? An acute angle are the smaller ones, less than 90. And then we've also got the ones that are greater than 90. We call these big fellas obtuse angles. So you've got right angles, 90 degrees. You've got acute angles, less than 90 degrees. You've got obtuse angles, greater than 90. But then you also have, and we'll come back over here to the question, this big straight line across the bottom here, that's called a straight angle. Hence why it looks exactly like it looks. It's just a straight line. That is a straight angle, and it measures 180 degrees. This whole thing right here has to be equal to 180. So I'm trying to figure out what the measurement of that question mark is. Well, if I know the whole thing's 180, I've already got 21 degrees of it. To figure out what's left, I just got to subtract. So take my 180 degrees. I'm going to get rid of the 21 we've already got. Can't do 0 minus 1. More on the floor. Go next door. This 8's now 7. This 0 is now 10. Then I can subtract. Come on, Mr. Huber, do right math. Bring down the 1. That would give me, that kind of looks funky, B, 159 degrees. And one way to check that that's correct, you could take 159, add the 21 that you've already got, and then just make sure that it adds up to give you that straight angle of 180 degrees. So you're going to always use the number that it's giving you to help. And I said it in the video yesterday, we're not even going to deal with measurement and angles and any of this until the very end of the year. So you're getting a real early preview of some of that geometry stuff. So straight angle, 180 degrees. If you know that, you should be good. All right, last but not least, the most challenging one for us so far, number 5. No answer choices this week. You don't need them because I don't want anybody guessing and getting this one right. I want you to earn it. So I'll show you 2 ways you can do it. You can stack them like we have been in class, 74 times 25. I'm going to start with the number in the ones place. I'm going to start with the 5. Go here, go 5 times 4, we get 20. 0 stays, 2 goes. Then go across here, we got 5 times 7, 35, plus 2 more, 37. And I'm done with the ones place. You can scratch it out, get rid of anything that you carried over. And then we're going to now multiply by the tens place. So we're going to come down to start a new line. We've got to put our placeholder, put that 0 down, because if I'm multiplying by the number in the tens place, my first number's got to go down in the tens place. And then I just go in the same order. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 7 gives me 14. Once I get to this point right here, all I've got to do, add those numbers together. If I can get this out of the way. 0 plus 0, no problem. 8 plus 7 is going to give me 15. 5 stays, 1 goes. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8. Bring down that 1. I get 1,850. Now, I prefer it that way. I think it's a little bit easier that way. But some people are just really struggling with that concept or that strategy. So yesterday I showed you the area model. You can take this big old square, split it into 4 different sections, and then you're going to take each number and break it down by its value. So if you've got 74, you've got 7 tens and 4 ones. So 7 tens is equal to 70. 4 ones is just equal to 4. And then same thing with 25. I've got 2 tens, 5 ones. If I have 2 tens, that's equal to 20. 5 ones is equal to 5. So really I'm just taking those numbers, I'm splitting them. And then I can multiply these. Now these are a little bit easier just because they end in 0 and you only have to worry about your basic facts. So if you remember, I told you how the 70 and the 4 can only travel down, the 20 and the 5 can only travel across, and wherever those numbers would hit, those are where you're going to multiply them. So like in this box right here, I'd be doing 70 times 20 because 70 would come here, 20 would come here, they'd hit. Same thing, 70's coming down, 5's coming across right here. I would do 70 times 5. In this box up in the top right, I would do 20 times 4 because if the 20 is traveling across, 4 is traveling down. And then in this box here, I would just do 5 times 4. Again, since they end in 0, it's a little bit easier, and I've only got to worry about the basic fact. So in the top left, instead of 70 times 20, I'm really only doing 7 times 2, and that gives me 14. And then I just put the 2 zeros that I ignored. Boom, boom. Same thing down here, 70 times 5. Really, I'm just doing 7 times 5. That gives me 35, plus that 1 0. Top right, I'm doing 2 times 4, which is 8, plus that 1 0. And then down below, 5 times 4 is just 5 times 4. That gives me 20. Last thing I got to do is add those together. If I added these two, I'd have 1,750 plus 100 on the right side with these two. And if I added those up, I'd get my same answer, 1,850. The strategy on the left takes a little bit more time. People seem to be more comfortable doing it that way, though. Ultimately, I don't care which way you do it as long as you're getting the right answer. I would like to strive to try to work towards getting this way, but again, I'm all about results. So if you're working to get a right answer and you get it, I can't really complain. So it might be worth the try if you want to give it a shot. Not something that you have to do, but it could potentially help you on a future question. All right, guys, so today's Tuesday. That means you got a few more days left before the only day that matters, which is Friday. We saw some surprising numbers with you guys last week on Friday. They weren't as high as maybe they should have been. So make sure you're watching these videos and asking any questions that you have, y'all. I'm here, Zoom, email, whatever you got to do, doesn't matter. I'm here to help. So hopefully you saw something on here that helped, and we'll see if we can get those numbers up tomorrow. All right, y'all.